I actually think that they might cut over the next three months some of these rates. I actually have the opposite, and I actually think, I mean, we've talked about it. I've talked about it in some of the other things.
Yeah,
I actually
I
don't,
started taking your posts and shooting that to other guys in DMs. I was like, he's got a counter
I
to
don't
it, or a counter take to this that makes sense.
I don't think it's bearish. I actually think it's like quite obviously not bearish. Everyone just right now, is under the assumption that that a cut is bearish, right? But look at the jobs report that came out today. 215,000 jobless claims. That's it. It's like bordering the lowest of all time. And like, so what generally happens when everyone is just assuming a recession is coming in a certain period of time, assume something bad is going to actually happen? Well, meanwhile, last time I checked, everyone that says inflation is not under control, every fucking time that I see inflation is not under control reference, like half of the references are like, this latte is $6. Like, don't buy the fucking latte. It's not oil. Just don't buy the fucking latte. Like, just go fucking store, buy like a bag of coffee, make it at home. That's like 12 cents. Like, all this shit is over businesses that you can just simply be like, all right, McDonald's, you want to charge me like $9 for a quarter pounder with cheese? Like, I just won't buy that anymore. And then what's going to happen? Those prices are going to start to come down. Inflation at this point for that kind of stuff is just a test of where customers are willing to actually stop. But like, if you look at some of this other stuff, right? If I asked you verbatim, what should rates be over the inflation rate? How much higher, percentage wise,
Man,
do you think?
I
Traditionally, the answer is one. It's one. Traditionally, the answer is one. Right now, we're at 2%, and forward looking, it's at 3. Right.
yeah.
So right now we are. Now, I mean, if you look back, do they want, like, inflation is still relatively high at 3%. They do want to get it down to 2. Perhaps there are no needs to actually cut, but in general, like, inflation is much more under control than people think it is. Um, Interest rates are significantly higher than where the actual uh, um, inflation rate is. Raises are thus outpacing in inflation in the short term. And if you just look at it, like, what happened last time Trump won the presidency, the Democrats raised rates massively in December, the month after. Do I think it's the most ridiculous thing on the planet that they cut rates into an election where if they win, they kind of go back to raising them a bit, or are they doing something? Or if Trump wins, they raise them again to attempt to fuck him into to have him inherit something bad. Absolutely, I think that's what could actually happen. And I think if we're seeing anything, like, most of the time when there's a consensus, like, it would surprise people the other way if something happened. And for some reason, again, everyone's just assuming that rate cuts are bearish. Yeah, rate cuts are bearish if there are reasons because a recession's coming, right? Or there is a recession and they're cutting them in order to try and get out of a recession. What happened last time we cut rates during a bearish during a bullish environment? Last time I checked, stocks are very high, unemployment is very low, and everyone is just assuming that there's cracks because credit debt is getting higher. But if they cut into that, right? Like, is that not the soft landing that they said? Are they not somewhat telegraphing that this is actually coming? So I am actually more bullish macro wise um, than some people, but I think like a lot of people are bullish on this year. I'm just bullish for different reasons. We'll see if it's true. I don't know. I'm a lawyer. I don't know what the hell's going on.